I'm not sure if you're aware, but on September 4th, 2025, a little game called Hollow Knight Silksong is coming out. Any chance you've heard of it? Oh, who am I kidding? Of course you have. Next to Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm not sure that any current game in the industry carries as much excitement and anticipation as Silksong. It's hard to believe that this game was announced over 5.5 years ago now. That's pretty insane, especially when considering that as of this video's creation, it'll finally be released in less than a week. There's a certain buzz in the air, a pep in our collective step. Of course, not everyone is interested in playing Silksong, but let me tell you, there are millions that are. It's just an exciting time, and it has me reflecting on the magic of video game hype. Us humans get excited about a lot of things, specifically within the realm of entertainment. It's a great feeling when that movie you've been waiting for is finally in theaters or the new season of your favorite TV show drops, but nothing even comes close to the excitement of that video game you've been waiting for. I understand that if you're not a gamer, you don't get it, but if you know, you know. Why though? What is it about video games that takes hype to unprecedented levels? Well, one clear component of this phenomenon is how long video games often take to release after their initial announcement. There's really no better example here than Silksong, which, as I mentioned, is many years in the making. Now, I'm sure that if Team Cherry could go back in time, they probably would have rolled this out a little bit differently. Silksong was originally intended to be a downloadable expansion, meaning that it almost certainly wasn't envisioned to take this long to make. As development progressed, though, ambitions grew, leading to the eventual announcement that Silksong had become a standalone game. The bigger the game got, the longer that eager fans would have to wait for it, and the longer we have to wait for something, the more the hype intensifies. We've got more time to fantasize about how great it's going to be, how it'll build upon what's come before. As the development of Silksong dragged on, Team Cherry wisely decided to stop talking about it, instead opting to put its head down and focus on actually making it. You'd think that maybe this would have quieted down the fervor, but if anything, I think it had the opposite effect, which segues perfectly into my next thought. The video game industry is incredibly secretive. If you follow this industry closely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't speak to how it was way back in the 80s, as I wasn't alive yet, but it seems that at least since I've been a gamer, developers and publishers have always had a tendency to keep their cards close to the chest. At first, this decision may appear to be a bizarre one, but to understand it, one needs simply to contemplate the nature of video game development. These things are really hard to make and often never leave a conceptual phase before getting scrapped altogether. Developers talking about their games as soon as they're conceived would lead to a bunch of disappointed fans more often than not, so developers wait. This is no big deal for a studio's first game, maybe even the second or third, but once you make something that really resonates with people, all eyes are on you. I'd venture a guess that if Team Cherry had been providing a consistent drip feed of information about Silksong throughout development, the hype would actually be lower. To know so little about something massively increases intrigue. If enough years tick by, fans begin to question if the game is even going to release at all. The cycle of Silksong disappointment grew into such a pervasive meme that it's hard to imagine life without seeing Hornet in a clown costume. The industry's clandestine tendencies, in conjunction with massive development cycles, serves only to stoke the flames of anticipation. Of course, the manner in which the proverbial curtains are lifted plays just as important of a role in drumming up the hype. During the 2000s, as I became increasingly invested in the medium, I became privy to something called E3. This now deceased LA-based video game convention was initially intended as a place of commune for video game business people, an opportunity to form a partnership or secure distribution rights. As time passed though, E3 grew into a completely different beast. It began opening up its doors to game journalists and eventually the general gaming public. My first real experience with the show took place in 2009. I was flipping around now defunct TV channel G4 and happened to land on a very tall man in a suit named Reggie talking about Super Mario Galaxy 2. The rest was history.
My body is ready.
E3 became an increasingly bizarre pairing of well-dressed executives revealing new video games. Kind of weird, but it worked, and soon enough, every console manufacturer and big publisher was hosting its own stage show, desperate to outdo everyone else. A video game reveal was no longer a press release or even a 6-page magazine spread. It was Keanu Reeves walking out onto a mist-filled stage as thousands of gamers screamed at him.
You're breathtaking!
Video game releases had always been an event, but now the announcement that a video game just exists was an event. A layperson may wonder, is that really a big deal? Oh, yes it is. I literally couldn't sleep during the nights before the E3 press conferences. It was truly like Christmas in June. The rush of hearing the crowd roar as the next big game was announced became a spiritual experience, even if you were just watching on TV. I can't imagine how it felt to actually be there. As I mentioned, E3 no longer exists, and game reveals are now mostly relegated to pre-recorded videos. It's not the same, but still, the industry has managed to turn announcements and reveals into a game of their own. When Team Cherry was finally ready to speak again, it posted a teaser for an update on its YouTube channel, which turned out to be the release date trailer. That video has already garnered millions of views. Maybe these types of occurrences are just as prevalent in other realms with which I'm not as familiar, but it would appear to me that the video game industry has managed to strike a potent combination of quiet and climax, perfectly epitomized in a game like Silksong. Ultimately though, I think I've yet to mention the most important and simplest element. Video games are just that fun. Again, this is in no way a dig at movies or music. I love those things, but for me personally, nothing compares to the release of a video game that I've been truly anticipating. Depending on what game it is, that may mean dozens of hours spent exploring a world, progressing my character, or just having some kind of experience that I've truly never had before. It's a joy that just isn't captured in the same way by any other form of entertainment. At the end of the day, video games generate so much hype because the end result warrants it. When we cheer, it's because we know what we're getting into. Hopefully, Hollow Knight Silksong will be exactly what all of the fans hope it will be. I suspect it's going to deliver, but even if it doesn't, the collective gaming hive mind will gravitate towards the next title that inspires excitement. The hype will simply never die, and I wouldn't have it any other way.